Having arrived in summer 2023 to many Arsenal fans' doubtful, Kai Havertz has had a very eventful Arsenal career. From the early stages of struggles to the recent levels of success, today we'll break down just what exactly has changed, discuss how he's become Mikel Arteta's perfect number 9 alongside a special guest, as well as getting the latest on both Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli. We'll break down a dramatic game involving William Saliba, and find out about the intriguing news regarding a managerial surprise. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Baz14, welcome back to your boy channel, and I hope you guys are doing sensational. The international break is dragging, I'm really missing Arsenal, but the return is not far away, so as per, smash a like on the video if you enjoy it and subscribe to the channel if you are new. But starting off with Arsenal's international excellence. In a tough start to the season where Arsenal have been really tested, one of our standout players has been our goalkeeper. Raya saving Arsenal time and time again. Think about the moment against Aston Villa, the penalty save against Atalanta. This guy has reached a new level this season, now being named Arsenal's September Player of the Month. When you compare his stats from last year, Raya has improved massively, having averaged a 6.85 overall rating last year. This year he is up to 7.47, even in terms of save percentage. 66% last year, all the way up to 81% this year. As Arsenal's defence gets better and better, Raya will make less saves. But having had that start against Villa away, City away and Spurs away, these are points and fine margins that will help Arsenal come the end of the season, saving Arsenal on numerous occasions, winning man of the match after man of the match. That Arsenal excellence is now also translating to Spain. Seen here celebrating as Spain beat Denmark 1-0, as Martin Zubimendi was on the score sheet and Raya kept a clean sheet. That is now 3 games to Spain, 2 clean sheets and 1 goal conceded, with another very impressive 7.2 rating, making only 1 save all game and that being inside the box, completing 71% of his passes. For a Spain side that is normally dominated by Unai Simon, having been a starter since 2021, then helping Spain win Euro 2024 as a starting goalkeeper. As things stands, Raya's actually been given an opportunity, because after the tournament Simon was ruled out for a total of 4 months, after needing surgery on a wrist injury. Since then, Raya has started every single game for Spain and he's excelling time and time again. Look at his form for Arsenal and the fact that he's establishing himself as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. If able to sustain this form, there's a very good chance that he could become the Spanish number 1. The clean sheets keep coming though. Raya starting once again as Spain beat Serbia 3-0, and this time it was all about his passing, firing off 8 accurate long balls. Another example of how complete a goalkeeper he's becoming. 5 clean sheets in his last 6 Spain matches, with a whopping 62% clean sheet record for both club and country in all competitions this season. But you also can't forget about Arsenal's Mikel Merino, firstly with an impressive cameo against Denmark, a 7.1 rating despite playing only 28 minutes. 24 touches, 14 accurate passes, a key pass, 2 out of 2 dribbles and 4 ground balls won. This guy is making a habit of eventful cameos off the bench. Marino's impact is definitely growing, alongside eventful cameos for Arsenal. The question goes to Mikel Arteta, with the games coming thick and fast, how long is he going to wait? On the left hand side, where you've already got Martinelli and Calafiori thriving, adding Mikel Merino could take Arsenal to another level. Against Serbia, Merino was in a starting lineup, making his first of the season. The standout thing was that Merino was playing as a number 10. It just goes to show that despite being known for his world-class duel-winning ability, in the final third he can also be effective. Let's talk about Takehiro Tomiyasu though, a player that has not gone international duties. Returning for Arsenal in our final game before the international break against Southampton, playing only a total of 16 minutes where he had only 8 touches of the ball. For a player that has struggled with injuries throughout his entire Arsenal career, with many fans welcoming a return, we've actually got a concerning report. Sources have confirmed in Team Talk that Arsenal are seriously concerned that Takehiro Tomiyasu suffered a reoccurrence of his knee problem in his short appearance against Southampton, and he could now be out of action for another month. I'm gonna hold back, and that's mainly because there's only 1 report so far, giving the player the benefit of doubt despite the recent history. But this is exactly why Mikel Arteta has invested in so many defenders. Calafiori, Timber and Kivio on the last 3 windows. There's a reason why we've not talked about Tomiyasu or Zinchenko this season. Players that have been unreliable in terms of fitness for the past few years. But with Timber currently struggling and Ben White also out too, having given Tomiyasu a new contract only at the end of last season, a major pay rise on top of that. If these reports are to be confirmed, I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans will be looking at Tomiyasu. Let's talk about Saliba and Trossard though, as they were both involved in Belgium's game against France, with Saliba's France coming out on top with a 2-1 victory, despite Tchouaméni getting sent off in the second half. But it was Trossard who had the far better game, a 7.5 rating playing all 90 minutes, 3 accurate long balls and 2 ground balls won, with the free kick that nearly ended up in the top left corner. Saliba on the other hand was struggling with a 6.3 rating, with 1 error led to a shot and also giving away 1 penalty. The foul itself was actually just a slip and it was definitely accidental, but to all the Liverpool fans that seem to be laughing, you guys should know a thing or two about slipping. Go and ask the greatest captain of all time. But maybe this was tactical from William Saliba. With all the reports linking him to Real Madrid and all the rumours circulating, Florentino Perez may have been watching. so Saliba had to make sure to drop a stinker. Jokes aside, according to Fraser Fletcher, Arsenal are now drawing up a new contract for Saliba as they look to stop the France star from even considering a huge transfer to Real Madrid, as team talking exclusively reveal. Having signed a new deal in July 2023 until 2028, he may have received a pay rise, but since then he's gotten even better. Part of the Euro 2024 Team of the Year. The stocks are rising, and likewise will need to be the case for the wages. But for a player that celebrates every Arsenal goal like a proper fan, never scared to show his emotions and his love for the club, personally I'm not concerned whatsoever about his future. Let's talk Declan Rice though, starting once again for England, as they beat Finland 3-1, a game that Rice was also on the score sheets, dropping a 7.6 rating playing alongside Angel Gomez, with 1 goal on top of 77 passes completed at a whopping 96% pass completion rate. Having now scored his 5th England goal, he's actually got more goals for his country than Phil Foden. I'm not one for agendas, but when you've just won the PFA Player of the Year, all the talk about him being better than Bukayo Saka, a attacking midfielder of his quality needs to be held to a higher standard. Looking fantastic in a great system under Pep, but struggling when put in adverse situations. In terms of our star boy Bukayo Saka though, he was not involved, having been withdrawn from the England national team, returning to Arsenal for further assessment, having been taken off in the last game against Greece with a hamstring injury. Arsenal fans do not need to be concerned, as interim boss Lee Kazi confirmed, Bukayo would have been close, but it would have been unfair to take a risk with him. He's been a positive person and I expect him to be fine. A fantastic update ahead of Arsenal's game against Bournemouth on the weekend. It seems that Saka's injury was only a precaution. With the amount of games that he's played in a busy schedule, maybe it's time for Mikel Arteta to protect him. In terms of Kazi though, having managed 4 England games now and won 3 with only 1 loss, giving so many new players their debut, a former coach of the under-21s knowing the England youth better than anyone, he's actually set to leave, saying, "I think this job deserves a world-class coach who has won trophies. As of now, I'm still on the path to that." That's where you've got reports regarding Thomas Tuchel, as according to Christian Falk, he is now in negotiations for the role for the England national team coach. A manager at a very high quality, available after leaving Bayern at the end of last season. We've seen his ability to coach in cup competitions. Only ask Chelsea fans and the Champions League winner of 2021. Winning the Champions League with team of Werner Mason was quite an achievement, and it seems like things have escalated. Fabrizio Romano confirming the breaking news that Thomas Tuchel has completed the agreement to become the new England manager. Terms agreed, contract set to be signed with an official statement expected soon. We've even got the here we go, with even Sky Sports confirming that he's set to become the new manager and he'll be introduced to the media at Wembley tomorrow. Talk to me down below in the comments, and would like to Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka a key part of England. Do you think they're going to cook on a Thomas Tuchel? One thing that Arsenal fans do want to know about is Gabriel Martinelli. Having played for Brazil off the bench in their 2-1 victory over Chile, despite playing only 10 minutes, he's now set to miss the match against Peru, as according to reports in Brazil, he's felt some discomfort in his tendon. Having underwent tests on Sunday to determine the extent of the injury, it is not thought to be serious. Even according to Fabrizio Romano, Arsenal staff are in contact with Brazil as Gabriel Martinelli felt pain in his right calf, with Brazil claiming themselves as a small muscle edema in the area, and he's undergoing treatment. It is not thought to be serious though, so Arsenal fans need to relax for now, especially for a player that's finally picking up 4 goals and assists in his last 3 Arsenal appearances. A game state changing goal against Southampton. According to former Tottenham striker and massive Arsenal fan Darren Bent, he is working his way back and you can see the confidence is now slowly starting to come back. I believe by Christmas time, he will be absolutely flying. Brazil themselves have a massive game against Peru now, with Gabriel Magalhaes set to play a massive role. In terms of wingers though, one player not a part of the squad though is Neymar, seen recently alongside boxing manager and Islington-born Frank Warren, who is of course a massive Arsenal fan, saying to Neymar that he's going to come and play for Arsenal, with Neymar not seen denying it. All jokes aside, with all the reports about Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka picking up injuries, there's a growing amount of Arsenal fans saying that we may need a new wide forward. Well, according to reports in the UK, Mikel Arteta appreciates Bournemouth through Antoine Semenyo and Milos Kerkez. However, if Arsenal are to make a move, they are unlikely to match Bournemouth's €80 million valuation. People at Arsenal view Semenyo as a backup for Bukayo Saka, while Kerkez could replace Alexander Zinchenko or Kieran Tierney, as one if not both will be sold in 2025. In terms of the left back, I'm not too sure, and that's mainly because of Miles Lewis-Skelly. Coming through the Arsenal ranks and looking very scary for the Arsenal academy, from Arteta starting him against Bolton to playing him against Man City. He seems to me the perfect long-term Zinchenko replacement, a midfielder turned left back that has all the physical ability to long-term provide Arsenal an upgrade. But what about Antoine Semenyo, a Ghanaian international at 24 years of age? Starting this year on fire with 3 goals and 1 assist, that after providing a solid 10 goals and assists last year, on top of his 8 league goals last season. A very solid player able to play on the right hand side, so it makes sense in terms of that. But if we're going to sign a Ghanaian, I'm looking at someone completely else. The captain of Ghana, Mohamed Kudus, having recently been seen at the Emirates Stadium, watching Arsenal as we dismantled PSG in the Champions League. As you guys know, a major for Mikel Arteta is the doors, and Kudus is a player that thrives at that, ranking first in all of Europe last season for ground balls won at 281. Having thrived for West Ham last year on the right hand side, this year even on the left he is still just as effective. When you think about the perfect Mikel Arteta wide forward, versatility is always going to be a key selling point. But what stands out to me is the individual quality. Ranking second last year in the entire Premier League for dribbles per 90, a whopping 4.5 per game at a 61% success rate. The highest Arsenal player was Gabriel Jesus, ranking 21st, with only 2.1 per game. Even in 24-25, Kudus ranks first out of any player in the league in terms of take-ons completed. Any player that Arsenal sign now will need to offer something that we don't have. That level of individual quality when it comes to carrying the ball, breaking through presses and providing Arsenal a moment. It's something that Arsenal don't have that Kudus could offer. You look at Man City with Savinho and Doku. Natural ball carriers that have made them more dangerous. The idea of Mohamed Kudus in games at the Champions League could take Arsenal to another level. History-wise, Arsenal have had the links there, having approached the player in summer 2023. According to reports, it was only because of FFP that Arsenal did not make their move, with the player instead going to West Ham. He's come to the Premier League, he's shown that he can do it, and according to the Footy Insider, West Ham will price Kudus out of any move next summer, despite interest from Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City and Chelsea. His release clause is £85 million, and it will have to be met in full for any transfer to happen. Talk to me down below in the comments, and in terms of wide forwards, who would be your perfect signing for Mikel Arteta? Moving on to Mikel Arteta's perfect striker. When it comes to forwards and Mikel Arteta, there's often talk of who's going to be the next one. Big names like Benjamin Sesko, Victor Osimhen and Victor Gyökeres. There's plenty of standout names there, but do we already have a player at home that could be the perfect Mikel Arteta striker? We're talking about the German Cobra Kai Havertz. It was a tough start to life for Arsenal with all the criticism going into it. £65 million on a Chelsea flop, struggling in midfield and with no confidence. The game that changed everything was January the 7th, 2024. On the day that Arsenal got knocked out of the FA Cup at the Emirates Stadium against Liverpool, was Havertz's first start as a centre forward since the start of the season, producing a 7.2 rating. Despite missing 2 big chances, he also created 2 of his own, and for me, I saw the signs. A centre forward in the making that was causing so many issues, threatening as ever and always getting into goal scoring positions. It was a sign of things to come. Since then, with more confidence and self-belief, adapting more and more to this Arsenal side, belief from Arsenal fans and trust to go and make things happen. Kai Havertz has found his Arsenal position, saying himself, I clearly see myself as a number 9 for the German national team, and that's what I am for Arsenal now. But I don't mean a classic 9. Where else are they available? Even Erling Haaland and Harry Kane, who you immediately think of. Don't just stand in the box and wait for the finish. The players who are waiting, they no longer exist in modern football. I am someone who enjoys letting go and making deep runs, but it's also clear to me that I'll be measured by my goals. From his days at Leverkusen to his days at Chelsea, always struggling to find his position, at Arsenal he has found his role, with 4 goals in his last 4 games. According to Who Scored, he is currently a part of their team of the season, ranking as one of the highest forwards in the Premier League. By definition, he has found his home. It is quite literally at home where he is at his most dangerous, with 7 goals in his last 7 Emirates appearances. If able to score in the game against Bournemouth, he will tie Thierry Henry's record from 24 years ago of scoring in 8 consecutive home games, becoming the first player to do so in the Emirates era. For me, it was the moment against Everton at the end of last season. Once again on the score sheet as Arsenal fell just short of City for the title. Skin in tears after the game in his interview, Havertz said it was just so frustrating. When you see all the supporters here, it's tough. But I can tell them next year we're going to be an even better team, and we are going to give everything next year again, showing personality and charisma that we had not seen at that point. According to reports, Havertz is quickly becoming one of the most liked players at the club, with staff members having said to be impressed by Kai firstly as a human, and secondly his desire to win. He is often seen around the training ground conversing with staff. The people around the club love this type of player. Fast forward to his goal against Southampton and that way he struck that ball. The cleanest I've seen Havertz strike a ball since Leverkusen. It's everything accumulating together. Understanding now that he has the belief from the Arsenal fans, the trust from Mikel Arteta. Kai Havertz is finally playing with conviction. The key behind it, as Mikel Arteta says, is love. He's a player who needs a lot of love. He needs to feel protected. He needs to feel the chemistry around him. He's one of the most likable guys I've ever met in my life. It's with Bukayo Saka that he thrives the most with though, with Saka assisting 3 of Havertz's 4 league goals this season. The trademark assist to Havertz at the far post. It's something that Arsenal fans are getting used to. As Saka says, I really enjoy playing with him. He's a man that has some great movement, always in behind the defenders. He's a real threat in the box when I try to look for him. He's on fire, scoring goals, and hopefully he can continue. Man City have got their Haaland and De Bruyne. As Mikel Arteta tries to replicate that has to be the long-term target for Saka and Havertz. Fundamentally and physically they have everything there, with the connection growing stronger game by game. Havertz's ability to drift over the right hand side has been massive in the absence of Martin Odegaard. A player once compared by Thomas Tuchel to Dennis Bergkamp, Robert van Persie and Dimitar Berbatov. A lot of people laughed at that comparison, but here you have Berbatov himself saying, I like how Havertz is a player. He has the flair sometimes to float into the games, and that's why he reminds me a bit of myself. Although I don't like comparing players from different generations, I like watching him, to be honest. The cosigns are there, the hard work off the ball is there, and the chemistry is building. But in the business end of last day, he also had the numbers. 15 goals and assists in the last 13 league games, helping Arsenal get as close to a title as they've been in over 20 years. At 25 years of age for a club and country, he has 178 goals and assists now, with 117 goals and 61 assists, going gun for gun with Erling Haaland in 2024. Whereas a main starting centre forward, they have both got the same amount of non-penalty goals and assists. On the goal scoring form, as Mikel says, first of all, is because he's so good, because he wants it so much, and because he's surrounded by great players around him. The fact that he's gone through some difficult moments has made him a better player and a great person. He certainly has all the qualities, and he has the ambition to go and score 20 goals this season. In the end, scoring goals sometimes are very small details. A lot of things have to go for you, but he's got it, and the mindset has changed a lot in regards to that. But how exactly has he evolved as an Arsenal player? Let's talk with my good friend Rohan. So Rohan, Kai Havertz this season has been on fire. How do you think he's evolved this season?
A lot of it with Kai is the confidence that you're starting to see more within his game, and Arteta has mentioned it before as well, in how he's a player who needs to be loved, and that's where you're going to be able to see the best out of him. But what I think is really key about Havertz is the fact that when Ødegaard has been injured, he's had to adapt his role into a very much Ødegaard's role when we play towards the right-hand side, and that's where you're seeing Saka and Havertz combine a lot. When I look at Havertz, I feel like regardless of the game state, he has something to offer. You know, when we went down to 10 men against Brighton, he was that focal point who allowed us to get up the pitch in certain situations, which we generated good opportunities against Brighton after going down to 10 men, but also against Man City, where he had to go into midfield after we got the red card for Trossard. He adapted there as well. So we're seeing so many facets to his game, and a player who's just combating various game states, and he's giving us a lot of quality.
The main thing for me has been the press as well, especially in the absence of Ødegaard, who obviously leads the Arsenal press. Havertz has taken a lot of responsibility, and he's making sure that we stay on point that way.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because when we look at Havertz, and again, I know I'm going all the way back to last season, but I think the consistent thing that we saw from Havertz, regardless of the role, was his out of possession work, and that was a surprise to a lot of Arsenal fans because they didn't think Havertz would be that guy who could give us that quality off the ball, but he consistently maintained that, whether it was in midfield or up front. It's the level of intensity that he provides, and you know, this is a guy who churns out 90 minutes week in, week out, and that level of intensity, you know, is so key to the way that we play. And when we look at the staples of our play, counter-pressing in all given environments, in all given game states, is something that is so key. And Havertz, he's just phenomenal at that, whether it's playing in Ødegaard's role that he's had to do since his injury, but also when he's leading the line in terms of his decision-making of what players to press, depending on whether teams are funneling towards the left, towards the right. He gives us so much there. But I think when I look at Havertz and the areas that he's at his best, I think he's a lot more potent when he drifts towards the right as opposed to the left, and obviously Saka naturally being there really benefits him. But also when you look at Saka's qualities and Havertz's qualities, I'd say Havertz, his best moments come off the ball in terms of the runs that he provides, and we look at Saka, who's more ball to feet. You've got really good level of synergy there where you've got that guy who's going to make those runs in behind, but also that's that guy who's going to be able to find him. And that's what Saka has been able to do. The best example for that is the Brighton goal. You know, Saka receiving, doing really well under contact against Donk, and then playing it in behind for Havertz to latch on. What Havertz has been doing really well since the Ødegaard injury is that he's had to kind of adapt his play towards being more that Ødegaard type, which is not something that he's suited to, but he's been able to do at a good level when we play towards the right side. But that's meant that when Saka does receive it and he's looking to bend that cross from the half space into the box, Havertz isn't always in those situations because of the role that he's been given. But once we start to see Havertz again move back to that traditional number 9/false 9, I think you're going to be able to see that presence there from the half space in which Bukayo Saka's going to be able to deliver that cross, which is our trademark move. One of the big things that I've noticed, where if we look at that first game against Liverpool in the league, I think the difference between then and now is the fact that we're seeing a lot more speed in his action and when he receives the ball, whereas I think at times previously he would take a little bit too long before releasing, whereas now there seems to be a lot more quicker in terms of his speed of action, his thought and his execution. I think that's the biggest difference, is the conviction, whereas I think naturally Havertz has given us a lot of quality at centre forward, whether it's being able to play over high pressing teams, whether it's been able to give us that level of presence in the box, where we've seen goals last season from Ben White providing that cross out wide against Brentford towards Havertz. We've seen this season with Saka against Wolves coming inside to the half space to find Havertz. We've seen different types of goals, and we've seen different range of qualities and his facilitative qualities of coming out wide.
Mikel talks about he sees the potential of a 20-goal player there. Do you see that in Havertz this season?
I do. I before the season, I predicted for Havertz, if he stayed healthy and he played for the entirety of the season, I think he'll get 20 Premier League goals, because I think what we saw last season, It was a small sample size, but it's against a variety of different teams, and he was producing. Our numbers in 2024 speaks for itself. We're operating at 100+ point rate. So I do believe that he has that level of ability to hit those types of numbers, especially when you've got someone like Bukayo Saka and that chemistry that they're developing as well together. So it's just a case of, I think with people, where they kind of worry about Havertz as a long-term number 9 is aesthetically, he's not that traditional type of, the Van Persies and, those types who will strike the ball cleanly consistently. Like I said, if we see more of those types of goals against Southampton, I don't see why Havertz can't get those big numbers. And in fact, I think Havertz can still get those big numbers, even if he doesn't always score those types of goals, because of what we've seen so far and the range of different types of goals that he scored.
If he can get 20 league goals this season, it helps the team as a collective. He helps us press out of position. He can move over the right hand side. He can do so much. Do you see him as Arsenal's long-term number 9?
I think so. I do believe that we still need to invest more in that area, because I think outside of Kai Havertz, the options that we have there are lacking. I think Trossard as that false 9 type, I think gives us real quality. But Arsenal looked at this area of the pitch as one in which they wanted to invest in a project signing, with Benjamin Sesko. And I think that is where I think we'll go, where we'll have 2 out-and-out centre forwards in Havertz and that project type to then take Arsenal forward. Having that kind of guy who he can play off is also something that can really work. That traditional type of 4-4-2, one dropping in, one spinning in behind, and you could definitely get that sort of dynamic. The versatility is the key for Mikel, because it opens up levels of unpredictability, and that's why our backline in particular has so much quality, because we have so much variety and we continue to add there. So it's the same across all areas of the pitch.
But that is the video there and there. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of his social medias, then the links are down below in the description. Shout out to Rohan for coming on your boy's channel. His socials are also going to be below. But that was all of your latest Arsenal news today, and for all the people just as bored as me during this international break, just know the return of the Arsenal is around the corner. So stay tuned as always, and I'll see you next time. Take care, in a bit.